This week's The Rahman Experience is brought to you by Al Salam Gift Shop, the gift shop that has the best selection of oils, body sprays, shea butter, and other unique items. You can find them online at masjidsalam.com, MASJIDSALAAM.com. PMP Nutrition and Supplements. It's the spot to get your body in tip-top shape for the summer and for life. PMPnutrition.com. The Jacksonville Free Press, providing quality urban news for more than 30 years. And Edward Waters College, Florida's oldest private college. Edward Waters College, preserving history, promising futures. And today's show is devoted to the memory of Cyrus Russ Jolivet, a Jacksonville and Florida legend. Welcome to one of the hottest podcasts in America. It's The Rahman Experience. The Rahman Experience. It's a brand new experience, a brand new time, a brand new way to do it. Hey, yeah, it's all mine. I'm the one telling stories you thought couldn't be told. I'm the one that bring you in when you shaking from the cold. I'm the one always out front, yeah, trying something new. I'm the one that's gonna deliver when they ask what it do. Politics, entertainment, and science, Waterloo. Keeping you on the level with the stuff you can use. DJ Kids on the beat, and Ross got the track. It's the Rahman Experience. You know that's where it's at. Welcome to this edition of the Rahman Experience. I'm Rahman Johnson. Thank you so much for being here. You know, things are quite amazing, and it continues to be so. Before I get into the show today, however, I want to dedicate the show to the memory of Cyrus Russ Jolivet. Russ was a Jacksonville executive from the city that I lived in and grew up in, Jacksonville, Florida. He chaired the United Way Board, the Ritz Chamber Players, the Jacksonville Aviation Authority, and he died suddenly April 30th. He was 71 years old. He was first and foremost a journalist from 1971 to 77. He was the managing editor of the Miami Times. It was an African-American newspaper that his uncle owned. While he was working there, he went to the University of Miami Law School. In 1977, after he graduated, he went to work for the university, where he worked for 24 years, including as the executive assistant to the legendary University of Miami president, Edward Tab Foote. He retired from the university in 2001, but then in 2002, he started a new career with Florida Blue in Jacksonville as the group vice president, then as senior vice president, and chairman of the Florida Blue Foundation. He gave millions of dollars to the community I call home, and he was certainly a legend and a great man. Russ Jolivet, may he rest in power. Thanks again for tuning into my show, and you know, there's so much to talk about, so many things going on this week. I mean, if I look at the news from Kanye and the Kanye Place, I know Saturday Night Live did an interesting showcase to that. What do you guys think about Kanye? Yeah, Kanye is kind of all over the place. That statement he made, or whatever he was talking about slavery being a choice, I think it's still getting, it was mind-boggling that Kanye West would go on and say that slavery was a choice. And I saw Wanda Sykes on Instagram. Wanda went on and did something where she said, yeah, hey, massa, I ain't coming in today. I don't feel like slaving. And I mean, it's like as if slaves had a choice to do a job or not. So for him to even say that is borderline disrespectful. No, it is real disrespectful. Thankfully, and I put it on my Instagram, he was checked by one of the guys at TMZ, and Kanye needed to be checked on that one. That, you know, I try to stay clear of opinion as much as possible, but the news is the news, and he was wrong on that one. So who knows what's happening over there? I guess John Witherspoon said it best when he said, men in the Kardashian house, y'all be ye also careful, right? This week as well, it was the biggest night in the country for fashion. Yeah, if you're a fashion head, you were watching. I know I saw some of it. I didn't watch the entire red carpet, but it was the Met Gala. Now, the Met Gala, for those that don't know, it's a benefit an event benefiting the Metropolitan Museum of Art Costume Institute. And this year's theme was called Heavenly Bodies, Fashion and the Catholic Imagination. Now, the event was held on a Monday night, and usually events on Monday night aren't well attended. But if you know anything about the Met Gala, hosted, of course, by Anna Wintour and Rihanna, it was just over the top. Sarah Jessica Parker stunned in a gold cape-ish thing. And everybody did something that was more focused on some kind of religious experience. It was Heavenly Bodies was the theme. Rihanna had on a beaded number that included a papal hat. Yeah, you know that pointed papal hat? Well, that's what Rihanna had on as her ensemble. And everyone says she killed it. That with a pair of Christian Louboutins. And she kicked it up a notch. And it was cool because when you looked at it in the back, it looked like a long cape or a long dress. But when you saw it from the front, you're like, okay, yeah, Rihanna did that. Some of the other notable ones, King T'Challa was there. Oh, by the way, you got to say Rihanna had on a pair of Christian Louboutins to top it all off. And, people just had on some over-the-top ensembles. King T'Challa was there. Chadwick Boseman literally stunned. The guys didn't go all out, but dude literally stunned when he came out in this white pantsuit that was brocade and it was really well put together. So one time for Chadwick Boseman, for the fellas, Bella Hadid, she had on something that was a very, very unique ensemble. It took you back to like the Victorian era. If you look at some of the pictures, go on my Twitter and Instagram and check them out. The Met Gala is always a time for people to stun and be stunning and wear stunning stuff. One of the things I saw that I didn't particularly care for was some people were saying that Kim Kardashian was the belle of the ball. I certainly don't see that. I look at people like Gabrielle Union who just wore a yellow dress, and I don't get it. To me, if you're going to go to something like the Met Gala, as big as it is, as well attended as it is, and as much as it's watched, you probably want to follow suit and do what is supposed to be done when it comes to the gala itself, right? Wear the stuff you're supposed to wear. Jennifer Lopez, hers had a religious theme, so it was pretty stunning. But Jennifer Lopez is stunning, as well. Some people opted, though, to create their own, and I was okay with some, like Lena Waithe. She had on a rainbow cape. She's a part of the LGBTQ community, and so writer Lena Waithe had on, and I got to call it more than a writer, producer, creator, creative, had on this just a stunning cape, and I think it made a bold statement for who she is and what she champions and talks about. So if you like the Met Gala or you saw something you like, tweet me about it. Let's talk about it. I'd like to go online. We'll be having a couple of fashion stylists coming on soon, so I think we're going to get back to the Met Gala and talk about it some more. Washington. Yeah, every day I turn, I want to say stuff about what's happening in Washington. And every time I say, I'm going to say this, by the time we get to showtime, I can't say the this or the that because something completely different has happened and everything has changed. Yeah, it's like, I don't get it. It's crazy. And it continues to happen. So right now, I think the latest with, although, it's funny, don't judge me right now. I do miss Sean Spicer. I do. Sean Spicer was a funny dude. Plus, Melissa McCarthy playing Spicer cannot get any funnier. But I miss him being the press secretary. But for what we know so far, and I say that so far because that could change in the next second or so, when you look at it, this is what's crazy. Russian oligarchs, right now they're questioning a Russian oligarch. There were hundreds of thousands, and some even say millions, but right now what we were confirmed is Russian oligarchs were paying Michael Cohen, who was the Trump lawyer / fixer, millions of dollars through accounts. Just doesn't seem, it doesn't seem like it could get any worse, and then it does. And then it doesn't, and then it does. And it goes back and forth. So, yeah, a lot to talk about there. Also, Jada Pinkett Smith she's premiered a brand new TV show on social media. And my being a storyteller, obviously I'm looking with bated breath and ready to check out the show. It's a new series, and she talks about dating a married man. And the married man was Will Smith, her current husband. The name of the show is called Red Table Talks, and it's at a red table only on Facebook. And she talks about dating a married man while the man was still married. And she's talking about it with Will Smith's ex-wife, who, by the way, they co-parented to raise his son Trey, which I think is really cool. I love the way Will Smith does it. Russell Simmons and Kimora Lee Simmons kind of co-parent really well and get along well with the ex-spouses and the current spouses and then the new baby mama and all, whatever you want to call it, all of those things, they all kind of get along together. And even though, you may not be able to stay married, you can be cordial for the kids. So check it out when you get a chance. Brand new on Facebook. It's the thing I'm loving right now, the Red Table Talks with Jada Pinkett Smith. Now, don't forget, you can always keep in contact with me on social media. You better know it. You can tweet me at RahmanJ, or you can find me on Instagram, which is my favorite social media because it's quick, it's painless, and even if I decide to make a video, I can only do 60 seconds of it. You can find me there at RahmanJ as well, RahManJ. You can also check your boy out on Tumblr. I'm on Tumblr now, and on Facebook. Facebook is facebook.com/RahmanJFans. You can get all the details, all the behind the scenes, and if you want to leave some info about the show, or tell me about the show, or tell me something you like or didn't, you can also call 540-RAHMAN7. That's 540-RAHMAN7. I'd love to hear some of your show ideas, what you think about the show, who should be on, who should not ever come back again, any of those things. I want to know what's on your mind. So leave me a message. We'll get to it. All right? The Rahman Experience continues in just moments. But first, the news. As we inch closer to midterm elections, the GOP is breathing a sigh of relief after shutting down a candidate who used racial slurs in his campaign and claimed to be Trumpier than Trump. Now, this week, there were primaries in Ohio, West Virginia, North Carolina, and Indiana. But all eyes were on that West Virginia race where convicted felon Don Blankenship was running for the U.S. Senate. Now, he was convicted of willfully violating mine safety standards for the Upper Big Branch mine disaster that killed 29 people. The violation earned him a year behind bars and a $250,000 fine. Now, the entire Republican Party, including President Donald Trump and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who sometimes just don't agree, they pulled out all the stops to defeat his candidacy. Speaking of the President of the United States, he's back at it again on his favorite social media platform, Twitter. Now, in a recent tweet, he confirmed what most journalists already knew, that he equated fake news as negative news toward him. Now, in the tweet, he asked if taking away press credentials would be an acceptable solution. Trump has a history of blocking unfavorable coverage, or at least access to him, from people that don't cover him like he wants it. During the campaign, press credentials were denied to the Washington Post, Univision, and Politico. And the flying cars are here at the latest Uber Tech Summit. Uber has unveiled the prototype of the flying car. Now, you can order your Uber car plane. I don't know, do we call it Plane or Plar or something? Anyway, you can order it from a heliport, and then it picks you up and transports you via air. It's like a helicopter, car, plane hybrid thing, but it gets you right to your destination. Now, the company says they should be ready for beta testing in the public by 2020. In sports news this week, this kid is big. He's 6'7", 370 pounds, and guess what? He's only in the 8th grade. He's got colleges already looking at him everywhere. His name is Keonta Goodwin, and he is a 14-year-old, but he's already 6'7", 370 pounds. And doctors say that he could be as big as 7'10". Schools are already lining up to talk to him, and, he really didn't get football or like football, but his grandmother wanted him to try it. Now, he, of course, is being scouted already, and it's crazy. He's a foot taller than anybody else in his class, and he's just a regular 14-year-old kid. Now, his mom says she has to keep the birth certificate with her at all times because no one believes that he's only 14 years old. He said that football is something that he's grown to love, and his goal, even though he's gonna probably go into the NFL, is simply going to college to get a degree because he'd be the first person in his family to do it. Looks like that kid's got his head screwed on straight. He better. 6'7", already in the 8th grade. Can you imagine? Right now they said his cleats don't fit in the locker. He can't wear regular junior high school football pads. He has to wear NFL pads. And his grandmother, she told him, because she loved football so much, baby, when you go out there, don't hurt the little kid smaller than you. Good advice, I guess, when you're that big. Good luck, man. I hope you keep everything moving forward. All right, there's more of the Rahman Experience as we talk with Clara White Mission's Jacoby Pittman in just moments. We'll be right back. Mondays are just like one of those days.
Back to work already?
Now, Pie 5 Pizza Company gives you Magic Monday. Just stop in and mention Magic Monday, and for a limited time only, for just $5.55. That's right, $5.55. Get your custom handcrafted pie just the way you like it. The toppings you want, more than 40. Your favorite crust. We've got 4, including gluten-free. And your pick of savory sauce. It's all for just $5.55 at participating locations only. Fun, fresh, fast, and sprinkled with a little bit of magic. It's Pie 5. Welcome to this edition of the Rahman Experience. We are live in downtown Jacksonville at Cafe Nola, which is a premier spot. It's at the Jacksonville Museum of Modern Art, which is just across from Hemming Park. And I'm having lunch and conversation with one of Jacksonville's premier leaders, not just political, but social. She's an activist, and she's a woman who has taken up the mantle of philanthropy that was started so many years ago by Miss Eartha White. She is the president and CEO of the Clara White Mission. Please welcome to the Rahman Experience, Jacoby Pittman.
Hey,
welcome to the show. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you today?
It's an awesome day. It's beautiful, and we're having lunch. So if you hear the sounds in the background, we're eating some good food.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Amazing.
You were eating out my plate earlier.
Curry chicken salad. That's curry chicken salad, you know.
It was so good.
Wasn't it good? It was delicious.
Yes.
So, Jacoby, I got to ask. So I want to start from the beginning to now and moving up. But you've done some just phenomenal things. Just can I get an overview with the Clara White Mission? And I want to talk about you personally, but with the mission, you have raised and put in, I would say, $50 million over the time. Because I've known you for 30 years.
Long time.
And you've been a volunteer community leader, but Clara White Mission is kind of like that crowning achievement. You have brought millions of dollars to the table for homeless people.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, it's an honor to carry on the legacy of Eartha and Clara White, who addressed a lot of the social issues in the community. And, upon me coming to the Clara White Mission, we only had a soup kitchen. And that was pretty much it. But over the years, Ms. White had created several programs that had impacted and addressed a lot of the social issues in our community. So having that opportunity not only to reactivate some of the programs that she had, but to develop new innovative programs to keep it going on. I remember when I started 25 years ago, our budget was $295,000.
Whoa.
And I had a staff of 5 that included myself. And so y'all go do the math. It wasn't a whole lot of money at that time.
No.
But it was an opportunity to continue and look at the possibilities that the Clara White Mission had. And so we were able to turn the soup kitchen more into a community development center, lifting a hand up and not a hand out. And so I've had that opportunity not only for the staff, but for the board of directors as well. I remember also when I started, a fundraiser was a fish fry and a car wash. And, me coming from, the corporate world. And, working with agencies like United Way and Shands Jacksonville. At that time, it was a little bit hard for me to even proceed trying to do that as a fundraiser. And, a lot of our board members have been on the board 25 and 30 years. And so there was no influx of new blood. So it was sort of hard to change the foundation of that organization at the time. So, kind of moving fast forward, we did a feasibility study, and we had some training for the board of directors, and a lot of those individuals rotated off the board. We diversified the board as well, and we were able to sell some of the assets that we have in order to be where we are today. So we've gone from that soup kitchen more to a training facility where our target population is low income, homeless veterans, ex-offenders, individuals that are trying to get their life back. And so, with that in mind, we realized also we needed to develop some sort of entrepreneurial, social, part of the mission that will keep our organization, sustain for a long time. And I remember you came when I first started at the Clara White Mission to help me volunteer. I mean, we needed a lot of help at that time, but once we were able to, get the training for the staff and for the board, we were able to implement a strategic plan long-term with some short-term wins as well as some long-term wins. And, even today, I think I'm working harder than I ever worked.
But you're accomplishing more. Now you have that veteran center. And I'm going to roll down, and I've known you 100 years. You got the Veteran Center. You've got White Harvest Farms, where you bring organic, natural, real food to the inner city community that people can grow and buy, which was something that I know Ms. White is so proud of, but she wouldn't have even thought about that.
Well, you know what? I'll take that back because I was doing some research on the farm.
Okay.
And how about she used to lease part of the farm to black farmers back in the day.
To allow them to
farm back during that time, but I never knew that. So Ms. White was just a behind-the-scenes person, and
ahead of her time.
Oh, absolutely. By being friends with Zora Neale Hurston, Mary McLeod Bethune, A. Phillips Randolph. I mean, those individuals that we've heard of, but you may not have heard about Eartha White because she was too busy doing the work, and putting the infrastructure in place. Even before the march on Washington, she had shared that idea with A. Philip Randolph, and not many people know that.
No, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. He shared that with Martin Luther King.
See, that's why one of the things I think it's great, even though you're doing the work of the community. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're like you remember that skit from In Living Color about the Jamaican with the 20 jobs. You're like you got 13 jobs, you only got 2 jobs, or you're poor. You're like a woman with 13 jobs because not only are you the president and CEO, but you're also kind of like a museum curator.
Right.
Because at the mission, and it's the ClaraWhiteMission.org, you can go there now and check it out. But at the mission, you actually have a museum with a lot of artifacts and this history from Miss White in her life.
Right, absolutely. Well, first of all, I thank God right now through ILMS that we were able to hire a director. Her name is Pat Mormon-Bell, which a lot of folks may know her in the community, but I am just so happy that she has joined our team because she has been able to develop a plan for the next 5 years or so in terms of doing fundraisers. She already has her board together. And, that's less off my plate.
Because you were doing it all.
I'm doing it all.
Doing
it all. But, to continue and keep the legacy alive, you have to be innovative and you got to be able to have individuals to come on and join you as well. But I have had a lot of fun, Rahman, and doing the work that I'm doing because I don't look at the mission as being a job. It is definitely on a mission for the mission.
Yes.
As I always say.
Yes.
But it's right on time. It gives me and the staff a way to help people change their lives, and it's not a cookie cutter program. So everything that we have developed has developed out of necessity because if you get a meal, you'd like to have a place to lay your head.
That's right.
You like to have some training, or you like to have a job. And so that's what Clara White Mission is all about. It's a comprehensive program that helps you not only get your life together, but it also gives you a chance to reach back and help someone else.
Now, we're going to get back to the mission. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk Jacoby Pittman for a minute.
Wow. You want to talk about her?
Look, Jacoby Pittman is good
Pittman.
stuff.
Okay.
So here's one of the things that we did not go into is you're a singer. Not many people know that you are a singer extraordinaire. When did you start? And like I said, it's funny because I was a little kid when I met you because your brother and I, Vincent, we were on the team board at JCPenney in the 80s. Ooh, I'm telling way too much of the business. Right. We were on the team board at JCPenney in the late 80s, early 90s. And I met you, but you were like executive, doing her thing. And I remember meeting you again when you were the president of the Jacksonville Urban League Auxiliary, which was their auxiliary arm. And so leading those organizations, I mean, you've done a lot of stuff, but a lot of people didn't know that you really got chops. that you could, girl can sing. When did you know, and when did you start that?
You know, it was really a God gift talent. Ninth grade. You know,
really?
Yeah. So
because you would sing around the city.
Yeah, I was.
Mark Little told me you would go around the city at different events.
You know, tell Mark to stop telling everything. But I used to be in pageants, local pageants here, in town, and so I had an opportunity. I was in Miss Black Jacksonville. I was in Delta Teen and Rabbi Temple. So I had an opportunity to represent not only on the local level, but a national level. I was Miss Hal Jackson Talented Teen, so I had an opportunity to travel
and use the singing to take you to the next level.
Yeah, absolutely, and just being involved in the community. So my singing, you know, also entertained a lot of the seniors in the community, and so that's how and then, of course, church.
Yeah,
you know that, right?
Of course. That's where we
that's
grew up.
Given. That's a given, right?
I remember the one thing too. The Urban League used to do, and I'm wondering if singing influenced it, because you were in and what were you in corporate America? Where were you? You were
at United Way.
You're at United Way, so doing the corporate thing, fundraising there. But I remember the signature event of the Jacksonville Urban League was the show and dance.
Yes, sir.
And I'm sure singing kind of influenced that. It was not, for those that don't remember or don't know or not from Jacksonville, the Jacksonville Urban League Show and Dance was this amazing talent show.
That was started by Dr.
Who started
Lofton.
it?
You remember Dr.
I
Maud
do remember
Lofton?
Maud Lofton. Where is she now? She went to D.C.
No, she made
Remember
a
she
stop
left-
to D.C.
Okay.
But she is in Denver, Colorado.
So you keep in touch with Maud Lofton?
Yes, she actually
Wow.
came down. And
She's really tiny, long hair.
Yeah,
I remember
she got short hair now.
She cut her hair.
Real cute.
Okay.
She's real cute.
Real tiny. Yeah.
But she was here, and matter of fact, she and her sister donated a room, an apartment, in honor of her father, who was in the military.
Right.
So yeah, she still looks good.
Wow.
But she started
because she was. I remember her because she had this really jet black, beautiful skin. This pretty skin, and she was so tiny.
Yes, she's
but
so tiny.
but she carried like a lot of weight.
Yeah, she did.
Dr. Maud Lofton. Well, I didn't know she started it, but the show and dance was like the place everybody wanted to be.
Event.
Yeah,
Yes.
and you had talent, like people who were corporate executives, nonprofit leaders, would all want to come and show at the show and dance.
Right. Yes, Love Overboard. You remember that?
I remember. I do, because that was during the time. I think Evie Johnson was the. You guys were in that because you guys had what was, and it's sad. I'm telling my age really now. The
Well,
Jackson.
you was always a grown kid. You know?
It was the Council of Past Presidents.
Right.
The Jewel
Right.
Council, and that was like the elite, you know, the Council of Past Presidents, because there were all the presidents of the Urban League Auxiliary.
Right. Exactly.
So you had, and it's interesting, you were a beauty queen, pageant queen, and for years, your son was, we didn't know he was coming,
No.
right? We didn't know he was coming.
But we knew about Alja KaMillion.
But yeah, right. Your daughter, who is now KaMillion, who'll be coming on the show soon,
Right.
just released a brand new single, who was the first black youngest Miss Jacksonville. Miss Jacksonville, like that's part of the Miss America system.
Yes.
Big stuff.
Yes.
And there had not been many black people competing, let alone winning Miss Jacksonville.
Absolutely.
And she's now a Grammy Award nominated writer and now artist.
Right.
Clearly she got her chops from mama.
Yes.
I mean, because the girl can blow.
Yes, she can.
The girl can blow.
I must say.
How do you feel about it? Looking at this kind of full circle, and you see her, and now she's less your daughter and more of a girlfriend. Because I mean, she's grown.
No,
so real grown.
Mama, don't forget that. No, we ain't gonna go to our mama. Okay?
She grown. Because when you see in them cute little outfits, you know, it's like she real grown.
Yeah, she real grown. But you know, I live vicariously through her. And, you know, all those things that I wanted to pursue that my mom may not really support it because she wanted me to go to college and not pursue music. But I realized that my daughter was living the same or wanting the same dream that I had. So I had to support her in her efforts. And I'm very proud of what she's doing right now. She is, you know, not only singing, but writing and choreographing. I mean, she is
and
a one-stop
got a
shop.
banging body, too.
Oh,
You girl, she's bad. My little
I think
sister.
she got that from me when I was
Girl looks good.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
All y'all, it's
and
you know,
your
grandmama was bad. Oh, y'all always.
Y'all better stop. But you know, she's always looked up to you as well as a mentor and given her critiques on, you know, the media and marketing, and I think that's important. You know, you have to have a village to raise a child, and so, you know, you can very well say that because when you grew up, it was
y'all
a
were right there. Yeah. I mean, I grew up in a single parent household, and I really didn't understand. I never used that when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, my parents got divorced when I was like 4 or 5, and my dad was in South Florida, and I don't remember, because I had so many daddies, and it wasn't, it seemed like my mom was going with everybody, because, you know, she does listen to the show sometimes. But there were men in the community. There was Michael Stewart, Ronnie Ferguson, Richard Danford, Spencer Cobb, all these men in the community that
embraced you.
Being involved in organizations. It was like I didn't, and then of course my relatives.
And then when you grew up, it just seemed like you had been there all the time, right?
I had so many uncles. It was this Uncle Michael, Uncle Ronnie Belton, and I really saw them. I mean, I remember things. Ronnie Belton. This is funny. My love of reading, and I've always been like a reader, but it came from Uncle Ronnie. When I was a kid, Uncle Ronnie, a lot of people don't know this, he used to get Reader's Digest. Remember the old Reader's Digest magazine?
I do.
Uncle Ronnie used to get Reader's Digest. He would save his Reader's Digest, because they would come every week.
Right.
And every like month or so, he would drop them off at the house.
And expect you to read them.
And expect me to read them. And I would devour them and have conversations about it. And so he was intrigued. He you know, he and my mom were friends. He was friends with our family. But he was like, how is this kid picking up Reader's Digest?
That you were going to be doing that, right?
He had no idea. Because I would want to have conversation. Like, he was just giving it to me, like, get it out of the house. It was junk. For me, I would read it. Yeah, and I would have conversations. But that was mentoring. Just like you do with young kids. And it's interesting. We have a mutual friend, Melissa Adams.
Yes.
Who has learned an exceptional amount from you, because she looks up to you because she loves philanthropy in the nonprofit world.
Right.
Got that through you.
Right.
So you're kind of still paying it forward.
Right.
So, and we're doing it all over again with your new baby. And I say new, even though he we call him granddad because he's older than us.
My baby boy.
Yeah, Winston is all of our babies. But and
he reminds me so much of you, though.
He is such a good guy.
You know, he's an old soul for sure.
We were at the post office the other day. I got to tell the story. I see you and your son at the post office, and a guy drives up. Before we can finish the conversation, Winston, who is now a DJ, a professional DJ, has whipped out his business card.
Right.
And this dude, like gold teeth, dreadlocks, you know, didn't look like somebody that
having a conversation.
Had a whole conversation and had booked a gig. It's like, here's my card. I can DJ your party. My sister it's KaMillion. I need you to look up on Instagram. The guy was like, yeah. He was like, no. I need you to pull out your phone now and follow my sister on Instagram and then go buy her album.
Right.
Can we all have a brother like Winston?
Well, you know, he's the official DJ for Representative Tracy
Davis. Yes.
You know, she's having her kickoff, and so he is supposed to be there next Monday at Christmas, and he is all excited. He's had several gigs. He's done birthday parties, family reunions, just because. And when you see him, you would not think that he would be playing, you know, from the
old school.
Yeah. Until now, you know.
Such a good kid.
So I'm really proud of him. He's going to high school next year at Bishop Kenny, and he is excited to be enrolled in ROTC because he wants to be a cardiologist. So. Hey,
so we can have some good music as we get our heart operated on, right? And it's hard to believe that he is in high school. And I want to take a time and now just talk about, even so as we talk about you personally, and it's not tough. And the beautiful thing about what I'm going to talk about now, it's not tough. I remember being there for your wedding. When you got married downtown Jacksonville. I remember being there for your baby that he born when Winston, which is why it's hard to believe that he's in high school and I'm only 23.
Yeah, right. 23 plus something.
Plus a whole lot, right? But years ago, and I want to say it's about 20 years ago, you had an aneurysm. And
Called acoustic neuroma.
neuroma, that's what it was called. We didn't know, and I remember being there. You were my first friend and sister that there was an adult. You know, I was a kid, and so that was the first really traumatic thing that happened when I got the call. Jacoby's in the hospital. She's had an aneurysm, and so they didn't know what was going to happen one way or the other. And interestingly enough, I remember coming to the hospital and seeing you, and you couldn't talk, but you knew you were there, and you made it through. Since that, and so you got married after the aneurysm. You ran for council and had a baby. All of which, the doctor was like, I talk about it all the time. And the doctors were like, you can't do this. You need to go into a corner and sit there and just rock.
Oh, no.
And you were like, I'm on a mission. Okay. Bye. I'm going back to work. Planned your own wedding with this fabulous affair. What was it like going through that, having to fight your way back?
Well, you know, I guess I live my life as if it's my last day, because I never know. But I believe that God has ordained our lives. And everything in my life was just really going right in my life. And I think it was really a time for me to rest, because I was so busy taking care of everyone else that I wasn't taking care of myself. And not that I knew, because I had no idea that I had the acoustic neuroma, but I realized if I am the true leader that I am ordained to be, the mission should still go on, my family should still go on, and all of those that depended on me, you know, they should have a fruitful life as well. And so you are as strong as your leadership. And for me, I appreciated having, I guess, those different times in my life where now that I look back, that I had a second chance at life. Because, you know, I was temporarily paralyzed. I was in Brooks Hospital. And, you know, yes, I was engaged to be married at that time. And I really didn't want to go through my wedding if I was not in a position to make my spouse happy, and I didn't want to do that. But
you were bad at the wedding. You strutted down that aisle.
Let me tell you,
but God, mama strutted.
Let me tell you, but God is a good God
all the time.
And so he was not through with me yet, and he's still not through. And I think that it was all about attitude and how you feel about life. When it's your time, it's your time. And so if there had been where it was time for me to go, I had prepared myself. And, you know, the mission went on, which I was very glad that the mission is not built around one person. And so even today, I make sure that, you know, our staff is cross-trained, the board is fully aware of what's going on, that this legacy is not just about Jacoby, it's about the Earth and Clara White. So I am still glad to be here. I'm still having fun.
And you're inspired. Do you remember the night? I think you were raising money. I don't know what it was. We were at Shiloh. Clark sisters were singing. This has been some years ago.
Yeah.
And you told the story about, I didn't know you were going to tell it. I was in the audience. You didn't even know I was there.
No.
And we talked afterward. So you told the story about, like, we're here to celebrate the Clark sisters, but I could have not been here.
Right.
And you were telling
me.
You
got me chills running through me. Oh, my God. Yeah.
I was back with the Clark sisters, and they were like, oh, my God, you touched them. I've been in the gym working out, and I've heard people say, you know Jacoby Pittman? And people will use you as an inspiration because you weren't medically, like when you look at the statistics with that, you weren't supposed. If you were going to be here, you were supposed to be, according to medical science, a vegetable.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And not only did you succeed, you continue to succeed and inspire others. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
We say it all the time.
You know, it's my personal testimony, and whenever I get an opportunity, I share, because sometimes you think you're in a worse position than someone else, but it's somebody else that need to hear what you've gone through.
That's right. You're also a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated.
Those are my sisters.
So you've been a Delta for a long time. How have you seen Delta, being Greek myself, have you seen Delta evolve? I mean, you guys did you see recently in the news, they had this big induction in Atlanta? Sabrina Fulton, Trayvon Martin's mom, is now a member of Delta Sigma Theta.
Yes.
Someone else, Quad Webb Lunsford from Married to Medicine, and star within her own right. Quad is now a member of Delta Sigma Theta.
We just some bad sisters. There is none other.
It's one of your Saras, the president of your chapter, Veronica Tutt. It was featured in the Black History calendar in Jacksonville for being a first as a black soldier in the military. Y'all got a lot going on in Delta. It's like a new resurgence.
That was one of the reasons why I wanted to be a Delta, because the Delta sorority is so involved in a lot of different, not only community, political, military, and I like the idea that you can always give back in your space. But it takes a whole village of sisters to make a difference. And you see us everywhere.
Everywhere.
And the front and the back, you just never know. As you said, there's a resurgence, and we're coming.
Yeah, it's beautiful. As you wear your elephant necklace today.
Yes. It's always a good conversation. You know what I mean?
Delta Sigma Theta. So yeah, you guys do a lot. And you specifically, you guys right now, you ladies rather, back to Clara White Mission, you have a major event coming up, the Miracle on Ashley Street.
Have you ever been before?
I've been, I've served, I've raised money.
This is an event you don't want to miss.
You do not want to miss the Miracle. And Delta's going to be there, because Delta does, I know with Kappa and some of the other Greek-letter organizations, the December to Remember and others, but right now, tell us about Miracle on Ashley Street and how it got started.
Well, the Miracle on Ashley Street was our first fundraiser that I started with the Clara White Mission when I started there, and it was started by Bernard
Gregory. Rod Gregory's dad.
Yes.
Used to be at Bell South.
That's right.
Vice president.
And he was on the board when I came, and I told him we needed to do a fundraiser, and I needed him to help me, and he did. And God bless him, may he rest in peace, but he was the one that helped us start it. The Miracle on Ashley Street, and the rest is history. We started our first fundraiser. We raised $5,000. Rahman, I thought that was a lot of money, right? For Clara White Mission. But when I look fast forward to where we are now, where we're raising $75,000 to $80,000. Having over 200 chefs to participate, and we feed about 1,400 people in 2 hours for lunch. And it's a party for a purpose under a big white tent next to the Clara White Mission.
And a lot of fun. A lot of fun. What's the date this year?
It's May 18th.
May 18th, which is coming up.
Yeah.
And if you're in the Jacksonville area, tickets are, you can go to clarawhitemission.org.
$25 whole dollars. Say that with me. 25
whole dollars.
Yes.
clarawhitemission.org. Log on to get the details. But Miracle is such a phenomenal first-class event with some world-class chefs and food.
Absolutely.
And speaking of world-class chefs, you also train world-class chefs at Clara White Mission.
Right. We've graduated over 900 students in our training program.
Wow.
And 70% of them are still in the workforce, and they will be participating and preparing the food for the Miracle on Ashley Street, as well as we have a featured chef this year, Chef Ratley, who's with Chartwell, and he is bringing his interns from Frank Peterson.
So, like high school students?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're featuring them. It's going to be a fabulous event, and we are looking forward. If you haven't been, you definitely want to come.
You want to go. They block off the street.
Oh, it's
huge party.
And we also bring our vegetables from White Harvest Farm.
So I can eat and still keep my abs.
Oh, I don't know about that. You might have to work out a lot that night, okay? But everything that we do, at the Clara White Mission, it has grown from one initiative to another, and so it makes it a holistic a comprehensive program.
Amazing. And speaking of that, there's so many like tentacles to it. Speaking of food and eating, you do a weekly cafe with the Episcopal Church.
St. John's Episcopal Church. It's called Clara's at the Cathedral. It's every Friday from 11 to 1:30.
Well, 11 to whenever you leave, because sometimes I will come at 1:30, like 1:29, and they'll still serve. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we want you to come back.
Yeah.
But it's a place where you can also have meetings and then come and have lunch. We have live entertainment as well.
Akia Uwanda, other cats downstairs, other bands.
Just a whole lot.
But you transformed the church community room into I can't even call it a diner. This is like a 5-star New York with piping and draping and
all of that. Because we want to make sure that our students have the hands-on approach to learn the front of the house, the back of the house, and we're the only nonprofit in the state of Florida that provide this training for the target population that we provide this training for.
Wow. I mean, and the food's really good.
So I remember when I started, I was a Coca-Cola baller, but I would tell you now I'm voluptuous.
Well, we like it. It's good.
Yes.
And speaking of other events, are you? Can we share the theme this year or not?
Who is that?
Of Pearls and Cufflinks.
Yes.
Because I know we keep it. It's usually a close held secret. Okay. So it's a secret for only my listeners on the Rahman Experience.
Yes. It's called the Egyptian Night at the Pearls and Cufflinks.
So usually, to give you Ms. White, the founder of the Clara White Mission, Eartha M.M. White, who was a philanthropist, and you'll find the details and links on my website and all that stuff, and on ClaraWhiteMission.org. But Ms. White just loved to give back to the community. But she was known for her signature strand of pearls.
Absolutely.
Always wore a strand of pearls. Yes. And she's a very elegant lady.
Yes.
And you took that from her. And I say took it, but to pay homage to Mrs. White, you created the Pearls and Cufflinks Gala.
Yeah, because I didn't want to forget the guys.
Right. So the cufflinks too. She wears the pearls, but the guy has the cufflinks. So it's a very elegant affair. It's at different places around the city, and there's a theme. So this year's theme, and last year I had a pleasure of coming with you.
Listen, and you helped me raise some money.
We raised some good money last year. Yes, we did.
Yes,
we had a good time.
A live auction.
Live auction,
we'll have that again.
Rubies and diamonds and
pearls.
And we had a basket of, we'll call it love. Remember the love basket? Yeah. So it was some real Brenda Jackson, an author, national best-selling author.
And contributor to the Pearls and Cufflinks for many years.
Such a good
10 or 15 years.
Such a good program. One of the local news anchors, your cousin Brooks Baptiste.
Yes.
Brooks co-hosted with Odette.
Yes.
Radio personality. Yes. So it was a wonderful affair.
Yes.
But this year it's going to be a little different because the theme is, you said, Egyptian Nights.
Yes, at the Pearls and Cufflinks, and it's going to be at the Scottish Rite.
So the whole so the building is going to be Egyptian themed as well.
Yeah.
And then when is that? What's the date this year?
It is November the 2nd.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's the start of the holiday season. That'll be first. Okay.
Yes. Well, it's really to kick off Miss White's birthday as well because her birthday is November the 8th.
Okay.
So we're going to kick it off with the Egyptian Night, and then we're going to close it out with a Gospel Fest.
Come on. So this year, tickets are how much for Egyptian Night? So we can be ready. Do we know? $100 for tickets, which obviously goes to a good cause. 501c3 nonprofit Clara White Mission.
Right.
The attire, I'm assuming, are you asking everybody to wear this is going to be like the Met Gala. I'm sure you saw it the other day. So are we expected to wear our Egyptian finery?
Well, you can, or black tie with
something a touch of Egypt.
Just a touch.
Okay.
If you're not comfortable with that. But I'm going to tell you, sister, I'm going all out.
Let's bring it. Let's do fun stuff.
I know you are.
I'm thinking of my costume already.
You're getting that body right. I see you.
Can I do a pharaoh, what do you call it? The pharaoh wrap thing?
Whatever you want, because you had a body, definitely. You got the body for that.
Look at here. Okay. I tell y'all got about 5 more years of these abs, because I'm hungry. If I was married, I would be fat. I'm just telling y'all.
Okay, well, you're looking good right now, bro.
Thank you.
For this year?
For this year.
That's what we're talking about.
I'm looking forward to that. $100 a ticket. But all of this stuff
goes back into the training and feeding the homeless at the Clara White Mission.
And you service over per year?
500 individuals.
Daily?
Day.
That you're feeding?
7 days a week. A lot of meals, huh?
That's a whole lot of food. And you have 2 veteran centers, one for male, one for female, to get veterans back on their feet. So many programs. If Miss White was sitting here right now with us, what do you think she would say?
You know, I think she would be very proud that the initiatives that she started still exist. And I always live by her motto. And it says, do all the good you can in all the ways you can, for all the people you can, and all the places you can, while you can. I think that says and it sums up her life and how she gave back to the community. And it's so important for me to continue that on.
What's the vision for the future? I mean, the mission right now, you've gotten, you own the block. Thanks to Ms., her generous contribution. Actually, on the block now, other block across the street.
Well, see, I got to tell you what my staff said. Don't let her go to sleep because if she wake up. But I promised them I'm just going to work on what we have. You know, we have a project on Edison Avenue, which is a special events hall.
Yes.
But what we're looking to do is to continue to do what we do, but in a better way.
Yeah.
You know, from a financial standpoint, and so as you know, it takes money to operate these facilities. So our efforts in the next few years is to make sure that we maintain those facilities and that we're serving the community in the best way that we can with quality.
And you continue to do it. Okay, we usually do a lightning round question now. So this is real quick, lightning round. We just ask a question. What's your favorite color?
Green.
Why?
Money.
Hey. Okay, what movie, if there was a movie that you could see that made into a musical, just a regular movie, what movie do you think would be pretty cool made into a musical?
Shaft.
That might be interesting. Okay. That would be interesting.
Okay.
An interesting movie. I'll take it. What about pets? Do you have any pets?
No pets, but if I did have a pet,
okay,
it would be a Saint Bernard.
Really?
I like Saint Bernards.
Okay. Have you ever had a dog, a Saint Bernard?
Well, yeah, I had a dog named Missy one time.
Long time ago.
Long time ago.
Okay.
9th grade. That was a good year.
But I mean, when would you have time?
That's
and Saint Bernards take up a lot of time because they're so big.
Yeah,
beautiful
I
dogs.
did have a. Oh God, I can't think of the name of the dog that I had when my daughter was about 10 years old.
Okay.
Left him in the bathroom at home, and he tore up everything. And so
you're like, I'm done.
I had to take him back and tell him that my daughter was allergic to him.
We can tell the tale now. Musical artists, who are some of your favorites? Besides KaMillion, it's KaMillion, we love her, but who are some of the musical artists that you're
Luther Vandross.
Yeah.
The OJs and the Shy-Lights.
Did you hear Luther, Ruben Studdard?
Yeah.
Did you hear? I just found out about that.
Yeah, he's coming.
Yeah, Ruben Studdard is
I'm
going to sing. Ruben Studdard sings Luther.
Yes.
That should be interesting.
Yes, I'm going to that. That's next week, matter of fact.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you like old school music?
I'm real old school.
Now I know where your son. Now it makes sense.
Well, he's like real old school. I'm just old school.
You're just old school, but he's like,
yeah.
I remember we were somewhere and he said, I asked him about something. He was like, Mr. Rahman, I haven't had my afternoon cup of coffee yet, so I don't. I was like, excuse me, because I know I need my afternoon cup of coffee. It was so fun, but he's so wise.
Well, you know what?
Such a wise guy.
I tell you, God blessed me with him after I had that surgery, and he really gave me my life back. And I'm just so overwhelmed, and I love him to pieces.
He is such a good guy. I was talking to your brother, who's my fraternity brother, the other day, and we were just talking about we look up to Winston. Right? And you know, the beauty too of your family, having known them for as many years as I have, you had, but everybody's like a part of the mission. Everybody's a part of this thing. I remember when your grandmother was living, your grandmother would be out to the bowl-a-thon.
Yeah, it was a family affair.
Oh my word. And grandmama was like holding court at the bowl-a-thon. And I remember Miss Kobe, your mom, with the cute little bowling socks that she always wears, and my Ruby and everybody. You've had some really, really great people to be a part of making this mission a mission.
Yeah.
So thank you again for all you do.
Welcome.
And I've appreciated you spending some time having lunch. We had a great lunch.
It was good.
This is how we do. And right now.
So now I got to go to a meeting across the street.
Another meeting.
You know what I mean?
And I got to say one thing too. Thank you as well. You are, because besides being an activist in your own right in the community, Jacksonville doesn't have a spot on the civil rights trail of the United States.
Right.
You're co-chairing a task force.
Absolutely.
We're not talking about it, but I'm just telling people that you're on it.
Yes.
That you are co-chairing the task force. I'm on the task force as well. So in public, full disclosure, we are not talking about it, but you are the co-chair of this committee that's trying to catalog and put in information about the civil rights happenings in Jacksonville. So what a great idea. City Council President Anna Brochet put it together. Thank you for co-chairing that.
You're welcome.
It's been an awesome show. All right, we'll be right back. The more of the Rahman Experience. And don't forget, Jacoby Pittman is available. I should say available for parties, bar mitzvahs, if you want her to sing. But no, go by our website, Clara.
We know happy birthday. But you have to come to Clara's at the
You got to come to Clara's to hear her sing. It's ClaraWhiteMission.org. We'll be right back.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Rahman Experience continues, and, it's time for Your Best Life, which is probably one of my favorite parts of the show when we talk about ways to live your best life. And joining me is one of my favorite people, Little Brother. However, I can't call you Little Brother anymore now that you've been elected to office, the Vice President of the SGA-elect of my alma mater and the place where I lecture, and I'm a professor at Edward Waters College, Mr. Josh Young. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing?
Amazing. So this is the end of the show. You got to come on and do a whole show with us one day. But you just ran a phenomenal campaign. How do you live your best life? And that's a huge question, right? Because everybody has their way of doing it. But how do you live your best life?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. But
sure.
First, my father always tries to tell me make sure prayer. So I always make sure I pray every time I do something when it comes to grades, my election, anything I do, because what God has for you is for you. And sometimes he tells you no, not right now.
Yeah.
And you have to understand that. And, sometimes I'm just like, why not? And I ask why, but it's just a no, not right now. You don't need it right now. And a lot of things I want to do this semester, I wanted to do it so bad, but God told me no, not right now. He wanted me to focus on my grades and my campaign.
So that you can do other things.
Exactly.
And, sometimes it's funny. You think about burned bridges. Think about relationships we've all had. And I use the analogy of us trying to super glue, like God burns the bridge. We're out here with super glue, hot glue, any other kind of glue, trying to glue the ashes of the burned bridge back together. And sometimes God burns bridges so we never have to cross them again. And here's the thing. What if I'm really not supposed to cross that bridge because that way is hard? What if I'm really supposed to walk down to the shore and there's a boat waiting on me that's going to take me where I need to be to the limousine that's waiting on the other side? And that's, I look at things in that way. So sometimes, when bridges are burned, it's not because we're not supposed to be there or not because we need to work harder. It's because you really are not supposed to be in that space. Yeah, I feel it. One of the things I was reading, I'm always reading, I believe in prayer, but meditation as well. My goal, my belief, my thought, I know your daddy is the preacher, so we're going to let him take center court. But what I believe is that prayer is my conversation with God. Because when you're praying, you're talking, and you can't really hear when you're talking. But meditation is when God speaks to me. And my grandmother would call it that small, still voice. And so I try to find a way to do both, because you got to give God space to talk.
Of course.
Yeah. Sometimes we don't do that. I was reading something. This is actually a good article as we bring the show to a close. Some things you can do to live your best life. Compliment yourself. Don't make excuses. And probably the most important one, let go of anger. Yeah. Because sometimes we hold on way too much.
I know. I fall victim to it sometimes.
There it is. So now we know what to do, right?
Of course.
Thanks for hanging out with me. And for everybody else, thank you for being a part of the Rahman Experience. Those are, again, keys to living your best life. Don't forget, you can catch me on social media at Rahman J on Instagram or Twitter. You can also find me on Facebook, facebook.com/RahmanJFans. And now on Tumblr. Y'all, you kept asking and begging and saying I should be on Tumblr. I'm now on Tumblr. So you can find the experience there. But the experience of hanging out with you guys has been amazing. Remember, don't let anybody who doesn't have the authority to tell you yes, don't let them tell you no. Now, if no one's told you today, absolutely, unequivocally, I love you, do this. Go out, find something amazing that you can be or do, and do that. All right? We'll see you next week right here on the Rahman Experience. The Rahman Experience. It's a brand new experience, a brand new time, a brand new way to do it. Yeah, it's all mine. I'm the one telling stories you thought couldn't be told. I'm the one that bring you in your when you shaking from the cold. I'm the one always out front, yeah, trying something new. I'm the one that's gonna deliver when they ask what it do. Politics, entertainment, or science, all the news. Keeping you on the level with the stuff you can use. DJ Kids on the beat, the Rock's got the track. It's the Rahman experience, you know that's where it's at. Rahman experience.